Hi guys, my name is Elena Hatia.
And I'm Manasi Punjabi.
And today is our first episode of Built Before 20.
So, first of all, what is Built Before 20? Well, this is a podcast that we're going to be talking and teaching you guys about how companies went from small little brands to the household names they are today. So, what companies are we doing today?
Today we're going to be going over Tommy Hilfiger, Nike, Harley Davidson, and Coca-Cola. So I can start off with Tommy Hilfiger, and basically Tommy Hilfiger started from just a young guy that was interested in interesting things and then brought it out to a wide range of people and really had crazy marketing campaigns that are super interesting. So Tommy Hilfiger began in 1969 when Hilfiger was just 19 years old. And from the start, this guy had a really interesting style. He was interested in rock and alternative genres and lots of music, and he wanted to expand that to his town of upstate New York. So he bought jeans from this eccentric clothes seller and sold them out of his Volkswagen to people that had the same similar styles as him and wanted them to be worn all over. So Tommy's first startup actually ended in bankruptcy in 1977. This place was called the People's Place.
So how did Tommy Hilfiger go from somebody that was just a wannabe in bankruptcy to what he is today?
So basically, this People's Place store was actually a cultural hub. He didn't want it just to be like, oh, you get your jeans and you go home. He wanted it to be a place where people could explore new music, meet new people, have a drink or two, and then go home with these new pair of jeans where these actually gained an entire experience. And this was something that Tommy Hilfiger targeted throughout his entire business campaign. He wanted people to feel at home in his clothes. He wanted them to feel diverse. He wanted them to feel unique. He wanted them to feel connected all at the same time. And that's a hard goal to get to, especially when you're building off of something small. So the People's Place wasn't a total success, but it helped bring him out. There was a man named Mohan Mirjani, which was a marketing businessman, that helped him get his idea out into the world. Hilfiger's ideas weren't very uniform. He wanted to do something different and completely change the business world and how it works today. He wanted to get out into the world and share his ideas in unique ways and attract people that usually wouldn't come to industries like this one. So basically what he did was the first marketing campaign that he did was he placed TH for Tommy Hilfiger up against billboards with Calvin Klein, Ralph Lauren, and many others. This gave him a huge shoe to fill because now he was comparing himself with these businesses that were humongous, that people wore every single day and also were on the higher end of fashion. He wanted it was a risky move, and he wanted it to become something big. So Mohan Mirjani at this time allowed him to build based on the money that he had and invest in him. But Tommy Hilfiger wasn't just wanting to invest in high-end celebrities and high-end brands. He wanted to get out into the world and for people to see his idea more. Tommy Hilfiger first introduced his ideas into a construction site. He and his team went in hard hats wearing Tommy Hilfiger to market the campaign to people all over the world. Upstate New York has so many different people. There's construction workers, businessmen, architects, engineers. It comes all from all over the place. So Tommy really wanted to target the people on the ground. He didn't want to target higher ups. He didn't want to go straight to the top. He wanted to work his way around. He wanted the people of upstate New York to feel his idea before they even saw it on billboards. He wanted to create an image for his idea that even if these people weren't the best of the best, that they were still wearing Tommy Hilfiger, that they still loved it, that they still felt comfortable in it. He and his team spread these ideas in many different ways. He did not feel the need to just target the look of the brand, but also adapt with how people felt when they wore the brand.
So, Alina, where do you think he gained this confidence?
It honestly is such a big deal in entrepreneurs today because as students, we all have something that we feel passionate about, that we want to change. But the real question is, how are we going to go about it? Tommy really thought that he could make something big. And when you have the feeling that you are making something big, you have to go after it. Confidence is built based on your foundation. Being able to know that your idea is something worthwhile and being able to understand how much it can actually come out. And being able to understand how much can actually come out of it is such a valuable part of being able to build a successful business. Having belief in yourself as well as your company is what really allows you to grow into something larger as a whole. So, how do you think students would benefit from this story?
Well, based on what you told me about Tommy Hilfiger, he knew what he was doing to get from such a small company to a big one, right? But he did fail multiple times. He went bankrupt with his first company. So never stop trying. That's my main piece of advice from this story. So the next case study we're going to be going into is Nike. So how did Nike first start? How did they become a household name? Well, when they first started, they weren't even called Nike. They were called Blue Ribbon Sports. Nike was founded by a college runner, Phil Knight, and his coach, Bill Bowerman. And they were a third-party company selling imported shoes from a Japanese brand called Onitsuka Tiger. Sorry for the mispronunciation. So how did they become a household name if they were a third-party seller? And how did they start making their own shoes? And how did they even become Nike? Well, so in 1971, they decided to split from Onitsuka Tiger and stop selling shoes out of a trunk. And they renamed their company after the Greek goddess of victory, because the vision that they had in their head at that time was because he was a college runner, right? It was to always win. He wanted to win every race he attended, every single race, right? So how could he have won? That's where the waffle sole came into play. Bill Bowerman was an inventor. He decided to put rubber into a waffle machine to make the waffle sole. And this is exactly how they got people to buy their shoes. They had something unique. All the other shoes, Adidas, Puma, Reebok, they all had the exact same design of shoes. If he wanted to become a big company, he couldn't just copy their designs. He tried that and he failed. He started copying Onitsuka Tiger's shoes. Like the first time they sold shoes was a copy. And they later, when Onitsuka Tiger found out about this, they had a legal battle where Nike did win because they were a bigger company at that time. So as you can see on the screen, there is a timeline of everything that's happening as we're talking. And one thing that I haven't talked about yet is the swoosh logo that was created. This was only created for $35. The Nike brand, anytime you see the swoosh logo, is free marketing for them, right? So why did they only pay the person that designed the logo $35? Well, when they were first starting out, they were in the ground. They were not a good, well-known company. So they hired a college designer and only paid her $35 to make the logo. And then when they did make their big break and when they were started to be well-known, they did pay her back with a diamond swoosh ring as well as a Nike stock. Growth also skyrocketed in the 1980s when they decided to start signing college athletes like Michael Jordan. So they decided to center a whole shoe line around Michael Jordan called the Air Jordans in 1984. The situation was that Nike was really struggling in one particular area, basketball sales. So by hiring and sponsoring Michael Jordan, they decided that they could probably boost their sales a lot. But the problem was that the first shoes that they made in the Air Jordan line were technically banned in the NBA. They did not follow regulations at all. And this gave them free marketing. Yes, it was negative marketing, but marketing is marketing, and it did make their name more well known. So when the scandal started dying down, Nike was even more well known. They did this exact same thing with the Colin Kaepernick campaign in 2018. This divided their customer base and only kept super loyal customers, while other ones decided to go buy other different types of shoes. But again, this centered Nike in the whole thing, and when the scandal died down, they got more marketing for free.
Don't you think there's a lot of risk in putting an effort into one individual person like Michael Jordan or Colin Kaepernick?
That is a big risk, but putting the loyalty that they did in each of these individuals really shows their determination and their loyalty to a singular person. Yes, it did provide some negative marketing, and that wasn't the best for their image at that time, but after it died down, they skyrocketed.
It also makes connections to human people as well. We don't always know what we're doing. We put effort into things that may be unpredictable, that may flop, and it's something that you just have to take for a turn. And I think that's really important in business because businesses are constantly ebbing and flowing. And it's important that we take initiative and be able to set our foot down and make sure that things that we love and are passionate about are being put forward in our image and not letting our reputation get ruined by certain current events or economic things in the world.
Okay, so Alina, can you tell me more about Harley Davidson?
Yeah, sure. Harley Davidson is a large company today. We all know Harley Davidson is the cool guy brand for so many of us, whether it's the big motorcycles or the big stores on the highway, it's everywhere. But originally, Harley Davidson started in a 10 by 15 shed in Milwaukee, Wisconsin by a couple of friends and one of their brothers. It really started small, but by being able to contact with a man named Carl H. Lang, they were able to acquire their first dealer. This dealer not only gave the motorcycles a name, but also gave the brand a name. They made it an environment with lots of fun and family and friends and being able to have this sort of vibe around them and this environment that was welcoming to everyone, inclusive, regardless of whether they wanted a motorcycle or they just wanted a good time. Their core values were obviously based on reliability, good service, and knowledgeable salespeople, but they had always been interested in racing. Racing is a very risky move to go about in these types of businesses as it requires going into another sort of field, and drivers can be hurt, motorcycles can be damaged, and it can build a bad brand name at the end of the day. So it really is a risk. Harley Davidson was scared of the implementations that this may have caused and the extensive competition that they may be put against that may put their brand at a fault. But they went for it, even against what people were saying, even against what admin was saying, because that's what they wanted to do. And being able to pursue true passions in business is a key concept of what makes these businesses worthwhile. This risk led them to really making a name for themselves and coming to be referred to as the Wrecking Crew. They became known all around the nation for their amazing performance and allowed not only the brand to succeed, but also the drivers and the vehicles as well.
So can you tell me how Harley Davidson was able to market to other types of crowds, not just motorcyclists?
So Harley Davidson became more of a brand starting with these people that were interested in motorcycles, obviously because Lang was interested in selling these vehicles and wanted to become a successful dealer. But at the same time, by giving this environment of comfort and inclusivity, other people were obviously interested in becoming part of this family. Food was sold, music was played, and people became connected through an interest in motorcycles. And while all these people may have had different backgrounds and maybe not all of them were interested in motorcycles, they all became connected by this environment. This not only created an environment in that area, but also spanned worldwide for people to know that Harley Davidson was a place that people could come to have a good time and to learn new things, to drive around, to travel, and to find interesting places that they hadn't seen before.
A lot of people have unique interests, like Arthur. So how should your peers go about this, like if they would like to?
Unique interests are actually something that people feel like sets them apart, but it really doesn't, and it makes them more unique as a whole. So being able to capitalize on your interests and being able to get out there and share with other people, because a lot of people simply don't have access to becoming interested in these things. So starting something new and being able to get it out there is what really makes things like Harley Davidson big, because you're sharing something that maybe people haven't heard about, maybe people haven't seen, and being able to connect it with an environment and a feeling is really what makes these businesses stand out from others. Harley Davidson grew into a big company even through small beginnings, and it was an interesting journey to get to that point. Speaking of interesting journeys, how did Coca-Cola come into what it is today?
Well, Coca-Cola was invented in 1886 by a pharmacist named John Zith. So the question is, why is a pharmacist making a fountain drink, right? Well, that's because it wasn't originally a fountain drink. It was originally a medicine, and it got its name from its ingredients. It was made from cocaine, coca leaves, and cola nuts, hence Coca-Cola. So why did it go from a medicine to a drink, right? And that's because the pharmacist wasn't making a lot of money off of it. So he decided to sell it to Asa Griggs Chandler right before he died. And this is where it transformed from being a medicine to an actual drink. Originally, it was only sold at soda fountains, and it started being bottled in the 1900s, which was able to sell it across the United States. So how did it go from a nationwide company to a global company? And that's because of World War II. Coca-Cola took advantage of the war and used it to spread something that's easily portable to people in the armies. So
What happened with the medicine cocaine part of the Coke?
well, it was slowly removed in the early 1900s. And this really taught us how products can evolve over time and still keep their brand identity. It started as Coca-Cola and it ended as Coca-Cola, even if the ingredients changed a little here and there. Another story is that nobody knows what's in Coke. Nobody knows its secret formula. It's said to be hidden in a vault in the Atlanta Coca-Cola Museum. So the story is that Coca-Cola claims that its recipe is one of the best kept secrets in the world. And even if it's true or not true, the secrecy creates mystery and has people just sitting at the edge of their seats wanting to know how Coca-Cola is made and what's in it.
How do you think this mystery helps the business?
Well, a story around our product can be just as powerful as the product itself. Because you're not selling a product, you're selling the brand. And the branding of Coca-Cola was a real big mystery.
Basically, what I've been learning as we go over these different businesses is that a lot of these companies wanted to bring out their brand to the world, not just their product or whatever they were selling, because sometimes that changed. Sometimes they had different things, they had things removed or they had things upgraded, but the important thing was how people felt when they were in those stores and how they bought their products.
Yes, that is exactly right. Another time this was displayed was Coca-Cola kind of created Santa Claus. So Santa Claus has already existed, right? But not the version we know today. In the 1930s, Coca-Cola hired artist Hayden Sunben. He's the one that created the modern image of Santa Claus as a jolly man in a red suit. Santa existed before Coca-Cola popularized the version we know today, but it was able to shape culture and traditions and not just sell their products. So how do we connect this back to our peers? What can our peers take away from this?
I think from this story, it shows us that it's okay to start with something new and then end with something completely different. Like you might start an idea and think, hey, this is working, but over time, events change, people change, things change, and your idea might change along with it, and that's okay. Change and adaptation is a good part of business and what makes people strong.
Thank you so much for watching our first episode of Built Before 20, and tune in next Sunday for the next episode in our podcast.
I'm so excited to see you guys there.
Bye!